in Kingdom of Hearts, or Parallel Universe, we find Aerith. We find Squall, Leonhar, or he goes by Leon. We find Yuffie. We find Sid. And we find the main game from 7, protagonist Cloud Strife, and they are all from Hollow Bastion, or if you prefer to call it Radiant Garden, which is quite different from the original universe where they're from. In original universe, Cloud Strife works for the Shinra Electric Power Company as an army grunt in the city of Midgar, which she moved to after being born and raised in Nibelheim. He went to the big city to fulfill his dreams of becoming a hero like Sephiroth. And he meets a friend named Zack Fair along the way. Now, Zack and Cloud in the original universe become friends through various actions and outcomes. And through being experimented on, they end up bonding over time. And Zack goes through and tries to save Cloud from the experimentations, which ends up being tragic for Zack because he ends up dying as a result, and thus causing Cloud to have a more traumatic experience, which leads to him ultimately becoming who he is in the events of the original Final Fantasy VII game. Someone who doesn't realize that he has somebody else's personality and memories because he becomes so traumatically devastated by the events that take place in Crisis Core that he adapted Zack's personality and absorbed his memories through, I'm not exactly sure what means per se. I just know that he did take on Zack's persona in order to deal with what happened. Now, in Parallel Universe, Cloud Strife is 20 years old versus 16 to 21 in the events of Crisis Core. He is 20 years old in the events of the first Kingdom of Hearts, and there is no Shinra Power Company for him to have the Mako enhancements. So it stands to reason that he had some other means or method to have it done. Now, since Hojo couldn't do the experimentation because Shinra does not exist, he had to have it done another way, or something like that. I'm not exactly sure which. What I do know is that even without the Mako enhancements done the traditional way that it is in 7, Cloud Strife and Sephiroth do meet despite not being in the company and having the betrayal that leads up to the key event of when Sephiroth snaps mentally and goes nuts. Despite there being no Jenvoa whose cell could be used for the experimentation, even Mako energy, in order to mix with it, Sephiroth still somehow snaps and goes and seeks Cloud out for fighting. Versus where in the original universe, the cause of Sephiroth's mental breakdown is him finding out that Jenvoa was his mother, which was an alien life form, leading him to mentally snap at the revelation that he was created to be, as he says, a monster. And, well, Genesis says it too, a perfect monster. Because of the events that take place in Crisis Core, you learn that Mako monsters were created to fuel the facilities at the Maka reactors, and Sephiroth was created from such an experiment when he was inside his mother's womb. But in the parallel universe, no event occurs like that. So how they got infused with Mako energy, let alone Jenvoa cells, still remains to be seen. But only time will tell on that. Meaning that Sephiroth's insanity is a predestined outcome. In other words, a key event that must take place in order for things to proceed. Cloud Strife in Kingdom Hearts 2 would be about the same age as Advent Children when he was suffering from geostigmata. But as we can see, Aerith, whose destiny is not predetermined, is alive and well, and he himself is alive and well and uninfected, unlike in Advent Children. Meaning that his destiny and hers were not predetermined, unlike Sephiroth's and Zack's. Now Zack Fair in Crisis Core in Benora, he encounters Genesis, who drops black feathers when he flies up into the sky. In the parallel universe, you see, in the end of Birth by Sleep, Zack is called away by a black feather descending from the sky, which means his death is a predetermined factor, because this is supported that to date, Zack Fair is not featured in any Kingdom of Hearts game other than Birth by Sleep, where he was featured for a short time in the Colosseum, in Aqua and Terra's route, and even Ventus's, when he was helping to train Hercules. Which leads me to my next person, Leon, or Squall Reinhardt, if you want to go by that, who is 26 by Kingdom Hearts 2, versus, rather than in the original universe where he's only 18, and receives a scar via Cypher during training, and this continues on in the parallel universe where both Cypher and Squall, just like in the original universe, both have matching scars, although Cypher's could be attributed to his long-standing rivalry with Hayner. As to why Squall has his, we have yet to find out as to the cause. But both exist in the same time frame, albeit in different worlds. One lives in Radiant Garden, the other is in Twilight Town. Although Cypher does run the disciplinary committee just like he does in Boundley Garden in the original universe. The ages and slight variations leads me to believe that although they have matching scars, they were clearly coming from different means, which means Squall and Cypher's scars are predetermined or predestined outcomes. That said, this has been a theory video of parallel universe / multiverse. I hope you enjoyed. Is it a perfect theory? No, it is not. But it does explain some things. If you wish to add on to it, go ahead. I do hope you enjoyed it. This has been Anime Lives 2000.